Hey y'all, welcome back to Babeinlibrary. It's your girl Lisa, and today I'm going to talk to you all about my experience at Petals and Prose. Now, if you're new to my channel, first and foremost, let me welcome you in. If this is your first time hearing about Petals and Prose, let me do the honors of introducing you to this event. Now, Petals and Prose hosted its inaugural event here in St. Louis, my hometown, on May 1st and May 2nd. This event was brought to you by author Brianna Michelle and author A. Blossom in the hopes of introducing a different bookish experience. Now, as a person who has joined my fair share of bookish conferences or bookish events, I've been to ApollyCon, I've been to Black Romance Book Fest, and I've been to Steamy Lit. I'm going to tell you that each one of those events I loved. I've had a great time. However, Petals and Prose is uniquely different. The reason I say that is because Petals and Prose is a crafted experience that is solely based, in my opinion, on a connection between the reader and the author the entire time. There is no space in which the authors are separated from the readers. So you're going to see that this is built on community, and there is a lot of engagement. It also is very, very crafty. So I'm going to say this, I would recommend this particular bookish event for people that are just starting their bookish event journey, that may want something that is smaller scale. They want something that doesn't have thousands of people. Specifically, if you're not good around large crowds and you want something a little bit more intimate, where you get to know the authors really, really well because you're engaging with them over the course of 2 days. You're going to eat with them, you're going to engage with them, talk with them, socialize, drink with them. This would be perfect for you. If you are one person that wants to get to know bookish attendees, maybe make a new friend because you've come here alone and you don't have anybody that you can experience this with. Maybe you don't have reader friends and you're trying to find a new friend, or you're trying to make a community yourself. You're just getting involved and you want to have a space that feels comfortable and intimate. Petals and Prose would be perfect for you. Now, that isn't to say that if you are a bookish veteran like myself and you've been to large scale events that have 1,000 things going on, I think that this will suit you just the same, because again, you're getting something brand new, unique, and different. It's going to call and bring out pieces that you haven't seen before and that you've been yearning for. Now, if you don't want to take my word from it, feel free to listen to some of these others attendees that talk about their experience as well.
All right, I'm here at Petals and Prose, and I'm here with one of our attendees. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What's your name? And if you're on social media, where can we find you?
Hi, yes, everyone. I am Lay Luna on TikTok, LAYYY_Luna with 3 A's as well. This is my first book event, ever. Ever. I just started reading adult fiction in September, and so this is my first spring reading. I got on TikTok and the algorithm snatched me up super fast. It saw that I'm from St. Louis and that I like books, and it pushed this event to me all the way in October. So I've been looking forward to this since October. I've been reading all the authors that are here today, and so I've just been so excited to step foot in such an intimate community in such an intimate way. And so this is such a beautiful event. Everything is so pretty and soft girl and romance. And I'm recently divorced, so I really needed this community with Black romance and love and soft life and hope and beauty. And I'm just really happy to be here.
We are happy with some pros, and we have one of our lovely attendees. Tell me your name, and if you're on social media, what's your social media handle?
My name is Starlet, and I am on Instagram and Threads at Starlet Chanel Reddit.
All right. And how did you hear about this event?
On social media, and I pretty much go to almost all of the book events.
Absolutely. So what else will you be attending?
I'm going to Black Romance Book Fest. It's a Lit World, Southern Hearts, ESS, Books on the Ground, Cube.
All right, so she is out here.
Yeah.
All right, and who did you want to come see today? If you had to make sure you stopped at this person's table, whose was it?
It was actually Jury Hines. It's my first time meeting her, and I wanted to get one of her books, and so I liked getting to meet her. And I really liked the little garden stroll. That was very creative, and I love that it was a way for people to be able to really talk to the authors.
All right. And then what do you have in your hand?
This is my book bouquet. It's smaller because as soon as I leave here, I'm hopping on the plane. So I only put one flower. Of course, you can put more flowers in there to make it bigger, but I'm going to have to carry it onto the plane with me. So it's tiny, but it's still super cute.
All right, thank you.
Now, let's talk about each one of the days. I'll start with the first day because I did have an all-access pass. So as a social media influencer, I was able to go to both Friday and Saturday and capture a lot of footage. So you all will see me insert clips of each thing in each day in this video. But first I want to talk about Friday because that was the kickoff. Now it started at 7 p.m. and it was very much a mixer type of social event. So it was known as Petals and Pixie Dust, and it was themed as fairies. So the color schemes were green and lavender, very much channeling who I know A Blossom and Brianna Michelle to be. So one, you already knew what to experience. You were going to go into this garden fairy gnome where you were going to be socializing and everyone was going to be dressed up. So I love being able to see people come in fairy ears, bring their wings, show different braided crowns or flower crowns. And me personally, I had such a blast picking out my outfit. So I'll insert a picture here or a video here of what I wore. Now, let's talk about registration. As far as registration, it was easy and seamless. We received email communications before the event that let you know where to park, what you needed to do for check-in, and where to show up. Now, once you first entered the building, and let me just say, the building itself was very, very cottagecore theme, which is unique to the fairy idea or the fairy experience. So I love that they took decoration into account. Like I said, a lot of this is built on who we believe the authors to be and how they present. So I think that A Blossom did a fantastic job of matching the theme as well as the location. But once you get into the door, you are greeted by the host. So what you needed to bring was your ID and provide them with your email address. And they were able to easily locate you and provide you with a raffle ticket to enter for door prizes as well as a drink ticket. So this event is different as well as a lot of the bookish events that I've gone to because not only do you get drink tickets, so if you want a mocktail or you want a cocktail, the first one for Friday night was included for you. You also got to eat. And so that is something that sets you apart because sometimes when you go to these bigger conventions, it is so many people that they can't care for catering. But again, because this is a smaller, more crafted event, you have things that you may not experience at other places. So I got in, I got checked in, I got my raffle tickets, and I went directly to the bar because you know me, I love a good cocktail. I love having a good time. And for people that are nervous, I think that gives them the good experience of being able to have a drink in their hand, have the ability to socialize and kind of loosen up and warm up for the event. So that was really, really brilliant to be able to have the check-in door there directly to the bar. And I think it was just also the nature of the event space. Now, once you got in there, you were able to see that there was this lovely Photoshop booth area where you got to see it was a flower background. You also were able to go in and see the space in which we would be sitting to do our painting because this was a painting and sip event. you got to meet and engage with some of the vendors. So 89 Blooms was our floral vendor, and they had things for sale there, as well as the Black Girl Bookish podcast had some merch that they were selling and engaging with people.
Hi, ladies.
Hi.
2026.
Welcome to the Black Girl Book Club podcast.
All right.
Overall, you got a chance to experience and see the space and be able to acclimate yourself within the room. Now, a lot of people just started to mix and mingle before the food was available. Now, as a St. Louis native, one thing I want you all to know, one of the biggest selling points that we have from a food standpoint, our cuisine, is Chinese food. Now, you may hear us refer to it as Chinaman, but A Blossom did her big one in being able to give everyone that culture experience of being able to say, okay, well, what is uniquely St. Louis? If someone were to come here and say, what do you need to try? It's going to be a St. Paul sandwich. You're going to be told what the rice needs to look like. How dark does it have to be in terms of the soy sauce? So they did a fantastic job of giving you fish if you wanted fish, chicken if you wanted chicken, St. Paul sandwich, noodles, rice, whatever you had in one of those cute little Chinese food boxes. And it was good for, being able to move around in the go. So you didn't have to sit and be in a corner by yourself. You could take your box and you could walk around and engage with people and just have a good time, mix and mingle. And as I stated, this is the event where the authors are never separated. So I was able to see Time VA in the same space. I was able to see T.M. Richardson. I could see Madam Wise and I could see A Blossom, and we were all just getting to know each other as general lovers of books. So there was no time where I felt like I couldn't engage with an author. I couldn't engage with an attendee. We were all in the same space having just general conversations before the night got started. Now, after we ate, we transitioned into the room in which the painting was going to happen. So everyone was able to bring their cocktails, find a seat, and really get settled and in place. Now, if you know anything about a painting and sip event, you're going to be able to see, okay, well, what are we painting? This time we had a live model. Now, one of the things that I was worried about, I was like, okay, well, who is it going to be? What are we going to be painting? And all of my worries were kind of gone by the wayside when we got to meet the instructor. The instructor was very, very knowledgeable. She was very comfortable. She, kind of talked and engaged with everyone before bringing in the model. Now, if you are a St. Louis native, you may know who the person is. If you watch 106 in Park, you may know who the person is, but the live model was someone that was a local celebrity and that has been on our radio show Talk Host. So it was an amazing surprise to see him come on stage and be able to engage with people. And I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, okay, y'all are really pulling out all of the stops with this one. Now, if you all will see, this was my crafting of them. And again, y'all, I'm not a Picasso. I'm not a painter. But I had such a good time making this and being able to engage with people. And one of the lovely things that I saw is that I went with somebody that I knew. But also, I got to meet with people who came in from New York, who came in from Tennessee, who came in from Detroit. So it wasn't just the St. Louis thing. It was people coming from all over because they really wanted to experience this event and they loved the authors that were putting it on. So again, you get to establish the community events where I get to see them today, and then I also saw them tomorrow. I established a lot of relationships with people that came from wide and far to enjoy this event. Each one of us had a chance to, if you were on the Facebook group, contribute to the playlist, and the playlist had a wide range of songs to listen to. So you had songs that were St. Louis local artists, you know, Sexy Red, you had Nelly, but then you went completely the other left field, and it was things that you were used to hearing on the radio, and a vibe was just had amongst people. We laughed, we joked, we commented on each other's paintings, and we spilled quite a few drinks and dropped a few canvases. But it was all in good nature and good fun. So honestly, I will tell you that that event was everything and more than I could have asked for, because at the end of the night, not only did they give raffle prizes away, but you also had an experience to be able to make your own body oils and put various different scents. So they had one that was already prepared for you, and then you got to make your own. So again, just those small touches of being able to do things crafty, be able to have takeaways and drink, that was perfect for me, and it gave me something that I could remember and always look back at. Moving into day two. Day two was the full gambit. That is going to be starting at 11:30, where we start with brunch, all the way down to about 5:30. It was a full day, and your girl was exhausted by the end of it. But my cup runneth over with just how much I enjoyed the event. So now, as an influencer, I got there very, very early. So I'm going to show you some clips of, you know, how we were greeted, what the initial team that was volunteers, what they looked like getting the event ready, and how, you know, everyone was in great spirits. Now, this event on day two was going to be interesting because there were two sections. You have people that specifically paid for a brunch or had an add-on special, people that had the entire package, and then people that were going to come in later just for the signing. So the room was divided up into two areas. You have one area that focused on where the authors would be standing, how you would meet them. You'd be able to see that there was a bookseller that had all of the authors' books out for display. She also sold stickers and computer mouses and notebooks, things of that nature. So anything that you wanted to pick up that was bookish related and non was at that table. So you got to experience that first and go in and see how that room was set up. Also where the panels would be hosted. As a person that throws events and has been an event coordinator, they use the space beautifully and being able to transition from room to room. So on the other side of the room is where the brunch would be hosted. Now, each one of the tables were encouraged to have various different authors sit at it. So your authors would be sitting at the table with you. So me personally, I sat with Kay Shanae. And I loved being able to meet her and her friend, as well as being able to sit with some of the volunteers. So Shea Butter Lit Lounge, which is a book club here in St. Louis, they were sitting at our table. And so getting to meet and form those connections with women that live in St. Louis, that enjoy reading books, that enjoy doing wellness events or having, community. It was something that we were able to set up at that table. And let me tell you, the food was divine. I'm going to put in a picture of my plate, and it was chef kiss. Now, also things that I loved about the table and what it was set up. Each one of the tables had little place cards, and it had icebreaker questions. It had a quote from the author. So if you were still at this event and you didn't necessarily know who you wanted to engage with, what their book was about, you needed something to kind of tease you, you have a place card holder of, information. So as far as icebreaker questions, it has, what was the first Black romance book you've ever read? Name one book with a woman on the cover. Enemies to lovers or strangers to lovers. These were perfect ways to kind of get, engage with one another, being able to talk to the author, letting them know and giving them the opportunity to talk about their book. And each person had a different one on the page, on their display set. So I love this. This just shows the care and the consideration that A. Blossom and her team and Brianna Michelle came up with to make sure that this event was really about community focus. Once we had a breakfast and we had a chance to talk and engage with one another, the next thing we were going to do is flow back into the original space to do a meet and greet. And what I loved about this event, it was different because you didn't have to worry about taking time to have the author sign your books or personalize. You could have certain things personalized specifically if you bought them that day. But this event was set up so that pre-orders were done before you got to the event. So you couldn't necessarily buy a bunch of books at the author's tables. The author didn't have to be responsible for bringing in and having books at their table. It was really more so created so that you could just naturally talk, have pictures, gather additional trinkets like stickers and bookmark. But there wasn't anything that you had to wait in a long line to have a book signed, because all of your books were given to you at the start of an event. When you picked up your registration, there was a bag that had all of your pre-orders in that you could have set to the side because all of the authors had already signed them for you. And so it just gave an additional layer of comfort and ease and relaxation to say, okay, well, let me make sure I don't have to worry about how this needs to be signed, what page I need to be on, what, am I speaking too long and preventing someone else from the experience. It was all taken into careful consideration to give you the most time of engaging with the authors that you knew and didn't know. And personally, in my opinion, I think it was also a nice experience for the authors because they didn't have to multitask. They didn't have to worry about whether or not they were signing your name correctly, if they were on the right page, if they were doing what you asked of them. They also didn't have to worry about whether or not you bought a book from them because, again, all of that was handled beforehand. So they didn't have to do the job of selling you on their book, of giving, making sure that they set up some sort of performance in front of their table. It was just an organic experience. Now, they did have this little pamphlet or booklet, and I really like that it has the ability for you to get each one of the authors to sign. Now, me personally, I did not have each one of them sign. I will tell you this. Sometime I was just in there gabbing. I was just talking and engaging with them. I did a lot of interviews, which I'm going to put in this video as well. So there was times that I forgot to have people sign my page, and that was okay. But for those of you all that were able to get 10 author signatures, you are going to be entered into another raffle. Again, A. Blossom and Brianna Michelle really pulled a lot of resources together to give you all that experience. So there were authors that sent in their books well before this event started, authors that weren't even there. So like, for example, Z. Renee and Sedona Rose, they sent multiple books. LB Gaines sent books for this event in support of readers, even though that they weren't going to attend, just to give that full experience of a Black romance book and being able to pick up a book and be able to love it. So you are going to be entered into a raffle to be able to win a set of books if you got 10 signatures, which I thought was fantastic. And this was a little keepsake that you could take back with you for your experience. So that was one of the things that I thought was really, really cool. Now, as I said, I did my fair share of author interviews during this portion. I've got some from Madam Wise, India T. Norfleet. I'm going to insert each one of those clips and let you get a feel for the authors.
All right, I am here with Riel Knight, one of our lovely authors for Petals and Prose. Riel, what made you want to join the inaugural event for Petals and Prose this year?
I love the fact that it's intimate. So I'm a super introvert, anxiety girly, so having something where it allowed us to be on a smaller scale and dip my toe into it, where everyone else is kind of like coming together. I love that.
Since we are in bloom, if you had to give flowers to anybody today, who would you give flowers to?
I had to give flowers to anybody in the room.
Just in general?
Oh, to my husband.
Nice.
Because I really wouldn't be able to write if it wasn't for him understanding all of the time that it requires to do.
All right. Well, wonderful. Shout out to your husband for making it happen. All right. I'm here with one of our wonderful hosts, Brianna Michelle. Thank you so very much for having this here. Tell me why you wanted to host Petals and Prose, and specifically, why did you choose St. Louis?
So we wanted to host Petals and Prose because there's a disconnect between Black readers and Black authors in this area. And we know that there are Black authors here, and we know that there are Black readers here, and we really want to create this space where we all can come together and have a beautiful time like we're having today. It was really important to us to make sure that Black readers who read books by Black indie authors have a space where in their hometown where they can come and we can talk and connect.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much for that. As a reader who is familiar with their catalog, what would you tell someone who is not and just wanting to get started with your work? Where would you tell them to start?
Okay, so I would tell them to start with Found My Way Out of Darkness. That is my debut novel. That story really shows you who I am as an author, like the banter, the angst in the books, the emotions. But again, it's a criminal minds inspired romance, so it's dark. It's not dark, but it's deep. It's very emotional. The female main character is in a sex trafficking ring, so it's a little lot.
Since we are in bloom, if you had to give someone flowers today, who would you give the flowers to?
Oh, wait a minute. This is a deep question. You know what? I would give my flowers to anybody who has been struggling mentally and they decide each and every day to get up and fight the fight. All of my suicide survivors.
Wonderful.
Yes, that's who I would give flowers to. Everybody who decided or maybe had trouble with depression, mental health, and they're still here today to tell the story. That's why I want to have their flowers.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for caring for your readers and caring for us at this event. Let's get into her outfit, because one thing about her, she's going to show up and show out.
Thank you.
I'm here with one of our lovely authors, Aria Days, and I just want to know, what made you interested in being a part of the inaugural Petal and Prose events today?
I love my city. I wish that St. Louis got more love. I feel like we're a great hub for art and food, and especially literature. The city is beautiful. We have a lot of history, a lot of richness. And I think that we sit at a very unique intersection of kind of Southern and Northern. And so that influence is evident in our literature. And so when they said, hey, we want to do a St. Louis book event, I said, I'm there. Of course. I need to be there. I need to represent my city and show y'all what we're about. So yeah.
If people are new to your catalog, which you do have a range of books, you write a little bit of everything, where would you tell somebody to start?
If they would want a bigger book, I would 100% recommend starting with Glory. I think the story is very beautiful, especially about self-acceptance and knowing your own limits. That's one thing that Black women do struggle with from time to time, and I just think having that reassurance that it's okay to choose yourself is an amazing thing. So I would definitely recommend starting with Glory.
I am here with our lovely host, Miss A. Blossom. First of all, thank you for having Petals and Prose here in St. Louis.
Yes.
That leads me to my first question. What made you choose to host this event here specifically?
I chose to have this event here in my hometown because
we weren't getting any romance book events, and I guess I'm like, they keep passing us by. So you know what they say: if you don't see something, create it.
Absolutely. That being said, you have a wide catalog. And so if you had somebody that's coming to this event, this is their first time, they just wanted to come out and support, where would you tell them to start?
I always recommend people to start at Unexpected Pass. Kellen Barnes and his stepdaddy fairy tale energy. Yes, I think that's a good read.
All right, I am here with one of our lovely authors, Miss Tati Richardson. For some of y'all may know her as T.M. Richardson. What made you want to come and support the inaugural Petals and Prose event?
First of all, Blossom and Brianna have been like instrumental and supportive of my career from the start. And I absolutely love them. And there was absolutely no way that I was not going to be here and support their first effort in the bookish event space. And so I was like, I definitely want to be here for my girls. I definitely want to like uplift indie, black romance. Even though I'm both, I'm hybrid, I'm traditional and indie, but I still feel like this is a space to really uplift indie romance in a really intimate and special way. So these are my girls. There was no way I wasn't gonna be here for them.
Since we are in bloom, if you could give someone flowers, somebody in your life, it doesn't matter who it is, who would you give your flowers to today?
Oh my gosh, who would I give flowers to in my life? I would probably give flowers to, I don't know, I guess all of the women in my life. I don't know. It's so hard to say, but probably all the women in my life, particularly since my mom passed away, my aunts who kind of stepped up for her and just been there for me as like second moms and stuff. So definitely my aunts, my Aunt Bernice, my Aunt Carrie, my Aunt Mahaley, all those women in my life who just kind of stepped up for me after my mom passed. So yeah, definitely giving flowers to them.
We are here with one of our wonderful authors, Miss Tracy Gray. Tracy, tell us why you wanted to be a part of the inaugural Petals and Prose event.
Okay, so I am a humongous fan of author A. Blossom. We are actually pen sisters under the label of BLP. And so when she told me that she was doing something in St. Louis, I thought, oh my goodness, that's so close to home. I would love to do that because I'm from Chicago, so it's just a quick trip down I-55. So as she laid out the plans for this event, it just kept sounding better and better and better. And so I was so glad that I was able to get in at the beginning, and the event has just been everything. It's been such a great event.
Wonderful. And we're glad to have you. Now, for those readers that are trying to get into your catalog, you have everything from sports romance to cowboy romance. Where would you tell them to start? Like for a new reader that wants to get a feel of who Tracy Gray is?
I would say probably start with one of my favorite books, which is The Brooklyn Way, which follows a young lady who is at a crossroads in her life, and she has to make the decision to leave behind a relationship that she thought was going to take her to where she wanted to go, and it's not going to take her there. So she has to make the decision to step out of that and go ahead and pursue what's really for her. Stop putting her life on hold for something that's not going to happen, and just move in her flow. And so she does that, and the outcome just is more than she ever would have expected.
Now, I will tell you that each one of us had our moment with the authors, but we needed to have a pause break so we could let people that came in just for the signing get a chance to engage with those same authors. We wanted to make sure that everyone had the same experience. So we had a set time to be able to engage the authors, and then once that time was up, we transitioned back into the other side of the room so that the new participants can come in. Now, when we came back to the other side, we definitely had crafts and things that we could do. So one of the things that I probably enjoyed the most is being able to make my own book bouquet. So we stood in line, we had the chance to pick out which flowers we wanted for our bouquet. We got to choose what book we wanted to be added into there. And then we worked with the florist to be able to wrap them up and make a nice pretty package. We got a chance to have some sweet treats. So there was cookies, there were German chocolate cake, there was some other bread pudding that we just got a chance to like take a bit of a reprieve and enjoy that. And that was all of the things that we kind of done while the authors were engaging other readers. Now, once that was all over, we all came together for the bookish panels. Now, the bookish panels we had two of them. One was hosted by the Besties podcast, in which that one I believe was Messy Plot. And then the second one was hosted by Mahogany Books, which is going to be Fantasia on Instagram, and that one was, I believe that one was Bookish Bays. And we had some really great author engagement. When I tell you, I laughed so hard that like I needed to catch my breath. So I'm gonna insert some of the clips from those panels and come back to you all and wrap up my thoughts on this event.
Hey, I know y'all think I'm gonna say midnight, but I'm not. I put it on Threads that Midnight is not my favorite MMC. Y'all haven't met Nelly Jacobs. He's from With Cookies on Top and Cookie Dough. That's who I think will have him in a tizzy. He's a chef. He likes to cook and he likes to eat, literally.
Yeah. The book bags raising the standard, or do you think they're ruining dating? And I need to know why. Or why not? I'm gonna start this one off. Listen, as much as we love a good situation and a good romance, it has set a precedent that is unrealistic for a lot of people, especially those people who have not been in relationships before or have chosen people repeatedly because you're choosing the same traits and the same type of man, but you expected book bag to be somebody that you can actually see. This is not a real build a nigga situation. Okay? These are for your the romantic side of your brain. And this is not for you to go out and look for in real life. Listen, I'm all for manifesting, but you gotta understand that when you talk into your God, my God, or who's ever God, that you're actually being intentional. And the things that we're putting in these books are not really things that you want. You don't want nobody to really talk to your damn okay? You don't want somebody that's going to actually yoke your ass up in public because that is fucking embarrassing. And if that's what you want in your life, that is somewhere in the building, sit on her couch. You got some things to address.
Now, once the panels were over, we came back to the other side and we did some additional crafts. So we were able to make Kindle inserts. We also got to make bookish charms. So if you have a Kindle, you could either do a Kindle charm that could go on your Kindle, on your backpack, or you could create a bookmark and that bookmark also have some charms attached to it. And then we wrapped it up by hearing some closing words and closing remarks from our host. Now, again, for me personally, this event was a standout. For me, it provided something that was unique to Petals and Prose and something that I would recommend for almost any and every reader. I loved how intimate, how much I got to know some of the authors, being able to spend time with them. The fashion, fantastic. I meant to say day 2's wardrobe was going to be anything that was floral, but it also had colors of sunset. So pink, orange, and yellow were the theme. And when I tell you that we showed up and showed out, when I say the fits were immaculate, let's talk about Brianna Michelle. If you've ever seen her, just know that she's coming with the runway fashion 100 times more than not. That woman could put on an outfit and walk the runway today. She could be at the Met Gala and we wouldn't blink an eye. That is the type of, inspiration that we've seen from everyone. Everyone came in their best attire and really stuck to the theme and to the brand. I can't tell you enough how much I thoroughly enjoyed this event. If you are considering it, do know that next year in 2027, they will actually be hosting it in Philadelphia, which is Brianna Michelle's hometown. So I believe that this may be in a traveling experience. So if you weren't able to attend St. Louis, that's okay. If you want to go to the next one, know that it's going to be in Philadelphia. There's going to be more communication that comes out, you know, closer to the time. These ladies have done a fantastic job of bringing something new, coming back, learning from their experience, and I can tell you that 2027 is probably going to be better than this year, because the more you know, the more you grow, and they are in bloom. So that being said, I want to thank both A Blossom and Brianna Shell for giving me the experience to be one of their influencers. If you want to tell me about your experience, if you went, please drop it down in the chat. If you didn't go and want to go next year, let me know, and follow them on social media. If you don't want to do any of that, just leave me a flower emoji, and I'll talk to you all next time. Bye.